June 19, 1944. 22,000 feet above the Philippine Sea, east of Saipan. The sky is a hard, blinding blue, no clouds, no cover, nowhere to hide. The engine noise fills the cockpit like a living thing, a steady metallic roar vibrating through the frame of the aircraft and into the pilot's bones. Sweat pools beneath leather gloves. Oxygen hisses softly with every breath. Lieutenant Saburo Tanaka, Imperial Japanese Navy, tightens his grip on the control stick of his Mitsubishi A6M50 as his formation angles toward the distant specks ahead. The radio crackles with clipped voices. Contacts confirmed. American aircraft. Again. Tanaka has been flying combat missions since 1942. He survived the Solomon Islands. He survived Guadalcanal. He learned, early and well, that speed, agility, and precision were everything. The Zero was built for this, lightweight, responsive, deadly in a turning fight. Against clumsy American planes, it had once been unstoppable. But this feels different. The specks grow larger with frightening speed. "Identify," comes the order. As the shapes sharpened, Tanaka's stomach tightens. These aren't the familiar Wildcats he once danced around with ease. These aircraft are broader, heavier, thick wings, squared-off tails. Their dark blue paint absorbs the sunlight instead of reflecting it. Grumman F6F Hellcats. Tanaka exhales slowly. He has heard rumors, whispers passed between pilots who survived encounters long enough to talk. Faster, heavier, built to kill Zeros specifically. American propaganda, some said. Excuses for men who lost their nerve, others insisted. Tanaka has never believed rumors. Until now. The Hellcats are already above them. Before the Japanese formation can react, the Americans dive. Fast, too fast. The airframes scream as gravity pulls them down, and Tanaka watches in disbelief as one Hellcat slices past his canopy, nose guns flashing. Tracers streak by, glowing hot white against the blue sky. He yanks the Zero into a hard turn, muscle memory taking over. The aircraft responds instantly, banking tight, pulling G's that would black out an untrained pilot. This is where the Zero shines. This is where he wins. But the Hellcat doesn't overshoot. It stays with him. Tanaka's eyes widen. He tightens the turn, bleeding speed intentionally, forcing the fight into a slow spiral. Classic Zero doctrine. Lure the enemy in, make him commit, then reverse. The Hellcat stays glued to his tail. "How?" Tanaka mutters, pulling harder, sweat streaking down his temple. He levels out and shoves the throttle forward, trying to extend away. The Zero accelerates, but behind him, the Hellcat accelerates faster. The distance doesn't open, it closes. The American plane isn't just keeping up, it's gaining. A burst of .50 caliber fire slams into Tanaka's wings. Metal shrieks, the aircraft shudders violently. Warning lights flicker. Any hit like that in 1942 would have meant death, but somehow the Zero is still flying. Tanaka rolls inverted, dives steeply, pushing the Zero beyond safe limits. The altimeter spins. Wind howls through the cockpit. His vision narrows at the edges. The Hellcat dives after him. No hesitation. No fear. At 15,000 feet, Tanaka pulls up sharply, climbing hard, gambling everything on the Zero's legendary climb rate. His engine strains, protesting. The Hellcat should stall, should fall behind. It doesn't. It climbs with him, steady, controlled, relentless. For the first time in his career, Tanaka feels something unfamiliar tightening in his chest. Not excitement, not focus. Fear. Another burst of .50 caliber fire punches through the fuselage. The cockpit fills with the sharp smell of fuel and hot oil. Tanaka's shoulder jerks as shrapnel slices through fabric and skin. He grits his teeth, fighting the pain, forcing the Zero into a rolling brake. The Hellcat roars past, then loops back around effortlessly. Tanaka catches a glimpse of the American pilot through the canopy. Calm, stable, confident. No frantic movements, no desperation. This is not a desperate interception. This is a hunt. The Zero's advantages, once absolute, are evaporating in real time. The Hellcat can dive faster. It can climb nearly as well. It can absorb punishment that would rip a Zero apart. And its 6 heavy machine guns fire longer, harder, without fear of structural failure. The doctrine Tanaka mastered, the doctrine that carried Japan across the Pacific, no longer applies. The fight has changed, and Tanaka is still in the air when he realizes the truth. This American plane is not afraid of him. It doesn't need to be. The Hellcat pulls up ahead of Tanaka, climbing in a wide, controlled arc. Deliberate, almost casual. It isn't trying to force a kill shot yet. It doesn't have to. Tanaka rolls his Zero onto its side and levels out, fighting the tremor in his left arm as blood seeps into the sleeve of his flight suit. The engine still responds, but it sounds wrong now, ragged, uneven. Every vibration feels louder, closer to failure. Around him, the sky has turned chaotic. Zeros spiral downward, trailing smoke. One bursts into flame, its wing tearing away as the pilot never ejects. There are no parachutes at this altitude that would save him. Another Zero tries to climb away, only to be cut in half by a single concentrated burst from above. Tanaka watches, helpless, as years of training disintegrate in minutes. Imperial Japanese Navy air doctrine was built on a single truth: outmaneuver the enemy, then kill him before he can react. From the first day of flight school, pilots were drilled into perfection. Tight turns, coordinated rolls, disciplined gunnery. Armor was considered unnecessary weight. Self-sealing fuel tanks were a luxury. Survivability was sacrificed for performance. And for 2 years, it worked. Against the lumbering buffalo, against the early wildcat, against men who didn't yet understand how to fight the Zero. But the Hellcat is different. Tanaka pushes his Zero into another tight turn, pulling G's until the edges of his vision darken. The Hellcat overshoots this time, but only slightly. Instead of trying to turn with him, it climbs, just enough. Then it rolls inverted and dives back down, converting altitude into speed with brutal efficiency. The Zero can't follow that maneuver without tearing itself apart. Tanaka knows it instantly. He has a fraction of a second to react. He rolls again, trying to break the Americans' firing solution, but the Hellcat's guns speak first. The sky erupts. 50 caliber rounds punch through the Zero's fuselage like fists through paper. One tears through the cockpit frame inches from Tanaka's head. Another slams into the engine cowling. The engine coughs violently, then surges back, barely alive. Any heavier hit and the Zero would be finished. The Hellcat, by contrast, shrugs off return fire like rain. Tanaka squeezes the trigger when the American flashes across his gun sight. His 20mm cannons bark, shells streaking toward the Hellcat's broad wings. He sees impacts, bright flashes against metal. In 1942, that would have been a kill. The Hellcat keeps flying. No fire, no smoke, no pieces breaking away. It simply climbs again, patient, untouchable. Tanaka's breathing grows shallow. His mind races, calculating, searching for an escape that no longer exists. He dives toward a cloud bank below, hoping for cover, but the American stays just outside his turn radius, shadowing him like a predator that knows its prey is already exhausted. This is not a duel. It is an execution delayed only by the Hellcat pilot's discipline. The radio crackles again. Broken voices, overlapping calls. Fuel, low. Enemy above, too fast. Climb, ineffective. Repeat, climb, ineffective. Tanaka realizes then that this isn't just his fight. This is happening everywhere, all at once. Across the Philippine Sea, hundreds of Japanese pilots are encountering the same impossible truth in the same moment. The Americans didn't just bring more planes. They brought a new philosophy. The Hellcat was built to survive mistakes. It was built to dive, to absorb damage, to keep fighting even when hit. American pilots were taught not to turn with the Zero, not to chase glory, but to use speed, altitude, and teamwork. Discipline over bravado. Firepower over finesse. Tanaka pushes the Zero into one last climb, knowing it's futile but unwilling to die running. The altimeter crawls upward, the engine whines in protest. The Hellcat rises with him again, effortless. A final burst of gunfire tears through the cockpit. Pain explodes through Tanaka's chest. The controls go slack. The horizon spins wildly as the Zero enters an uncontrolled roll. As the world collapses into noise and motion, one thought cuts through the chaos with terrifying clarity. Japan did not lose the war in the future. It lost it the moment planes like this reached the front.